At some point, I had this revelation wherein I couldn't deny that there is a creator. At some point, all my dreams were filled with omens, attributes, like the tree of life. I saw it in my dream, the spirit. Even before I actually had a proper understanding of Hebrew, I saw a lot of Hebrew in my dreams. I even dreamt about the ladder before I even knew what the ladder was. The first time I opened the Zohar, I saw all these letters everywhere before I went to bed. And when I slept, I saw light. I saw a brown membrane around me. It was brown. It felt like a womb. And I saw this ladder. I didn't hear any voice or sound, but it felt like come to me, climbed the ladder. And on the ladder was imprinted the Hebrew letters by light. It was clear to me that when I woke up, this was out of extraordinary, and my eyes were opened. I knew that everything that I'm experiencing in life, every struggle, is to teach me something. Every struggle in the secular life that I had was to put me on this path, because it is written that there is two roads, one big, one small. It's also written that the path of the wicked will decay, which is the secular life that we are living. It will decay. It will decay. It will fade away. Because a lot of people use this for their own good. What is this? Our own good is the desire to receive for ourselves. But when we walk the path of the Lord, which is the small path, it's very narrow. Very narrow. We receive salvation. We receive our insight. We receive everything that we need to overcome the evil in this wicked world. Because all of this was revealed to me in a dream. I've had many dreams. And now I finally start to understand why I'm dreaming certain things. I think that some things that are written in my dreams just by light, before I even could understand, had a lot of significance. And back then I wasn't able to understand it. I wasn't able to understand what it meant. I wasn't able to decode or find anything on the internet, because the internet is not a place for such things. The internet is built for a secular world. There's so much memes and finds and stuff out there that is not serving the purpose of Hashem. It's not serving Him. So that's why there is a majority of this, because a majority of people out there are actually religious. And we are living in a very confusing time, because there is so much dogma. no, limbo, sorry, limbo out there. And this limbo creates, we are between two truths, one singular truth and many, many truths, or one truth that tries to cancel out the other truth, or one lie that tries to take over and discredits the truth completely. That's what happens. That's why there is no place on the internet for things like this. When you try to interpret your dreams and you use the internet, don't do it, because you will shape your own reality based on this, and it will put you astray. It's meant for you and you alone. First, I started to ask people around me, can you interpret this dream for me? Can you help me? Can you help? Don't do it. Don't do it. Because basically, this dream is meant for you alone. Every dream, even if it is about your needs, your desires, it's meant for you alone. Unless when you really want to share it, do it. But when you share it with someone, keep in mind that when they interpret it for you, they decide the outcome. So that's why I was warned about this as well. And this is from a reliable source. Our dreams are not just dreams. When I opened the Zohar first time, used the Aramaic text, I received this light, literally, and it has set me on this path. And now I do have the confirmation that this is the only path for me. And now I'm even reading about constructs that were presented in dreams before I knew about this section in the Zohar. Can you imagine this? What this means? What this actually means is that the things were just right in front of me all the time. But at first, I was unable to see it. I was unable to understand what it means. To understand how I should treat it, how I should operate based on it, and how I should interpret it. And this creates failure of handling the information carefully, because I believe that everything is information, and this information is necessary for your operation and for your dealing with all of this. So basically, we should use it to probe on our selves. Because everything comes from Hashem. If you like it or if you don't, it's just a fact. And it has set me on this path. It made me come into contact with people that are also put down this path. And I can remember when I was a small kid, I think I was 8 or 9, when I heard the chanting of the Torah for the first time, and I saw the letters, that was when I felt so incredibly special. felt this, I actually felt something so nourishing in it, soothing and comforting. And now every time when I hear the reading of the Torah, or when I am reading from Torah myself, I don't know what I should explain, but it feels like I get images into my brain that are being projected. I'm looking in through the room. Actually, I'm not looking at my environment. I'm just reading and reading and reading, and the words come outside of my mouth, and my eyes are eating the letters, and oh, my body feels just like a vessel at that moment. And then after that, I feel recharged. Some people refer to the Torah as source code, and we are downloading light according to some analogies from, for example, the Kabbalah Center and some other great rabbis and rabbis. They are also stating this, and at least in this analogy, that everyone is able to understand that we are drawing down light by the letters, by the reading of Torah, by scanning the letters, for example, in the Zohar. And that's why I do think the operation, the mission to spread the Zohar is a great mission, because it has never been done before. So in a time of darkness right now, it is one of the best things that we can do. And some people don't see this time as darkness. Some people are having their best experience in secular world. The primal world is where we need to fix ourselves. Because if we don't fix ourselves, how are we gonna fix someone? How are we gonna share genuinely into the world with not the desire to ask something back? Because you really want to commit an action because you really want to, right? You're not gonna do it like I really need to share, I'm not willing to, but that is my perspective on things. And at some point this area came back to me every time. Some people say it's karma. They call it this because they don't have another word. And when they say it's karma, okay, how do I solve my karma then? We call it tikkun. We need to rectify this. It's not karma. Karma is a completely different construct from a different believing system, and I don't really resonate with this. We do have a divine task in this world, and it is up to us if we believe, and it's better for us if we believe and behave in a way that we want to fix this. And if we don't do this, and if we only follow our urges in secular world, then we are not obeying to this mission that we have in this world, and to rectifying ourselves, rectifying our portion in this world, and taking our responsibility for the people around us. Because I think nowadays this is more necessary than ever, because when we look around us, there's a lot of things going on. I have been judged, and I've been in many life-threatening situations. I've not always been in the situation that I knew, that I know. and I'm not even entirely sure what I know and how much I know. I'm not even entirely sure that if what I know is good, you know? What I'm about to show you is something that I built over time because I was stuck in a pattern of things that believe that promise so many things. I kept feeling stuck. I was willing to receive energy, good energy, and this is the thing that people talk about. Meditate and buy some stones and burn some incense, and this works to a certain degree, of course, but it's not our way that we should, because when we are referring to the ways of Hashem, you should not go along with all these things. Chakras, we can learn from it, but it is not our tradition. We do have, and we can find some similarities with pressure spots in the body, and when you, for example, in Christianity, make a cross, you tap into certain points in the body. There is a tradition called the Kabbalistic cross, for example, and this has a very theological meaning, and the same goes with chakras. But all of this is nice if you don't know any other word for an analogy. At some point, I started chasing the truth. I started chasing the truth. I started changing my perspective on things. At some point, because I was in the need of good energy, I was in the need of understanding why all this bad stuff happened to me, because people have been blackmailing me, people have been sending negative entities to me, people have been attacking me in very serious ways. Physical, 99% physical, but they are recently they cursed me again. But because I'm powerful, with the will of Hashem, I'm powerful. They try to break me. They are cursing me constantly. They are trying to. And at some point, I thought, I want to be powerful too. I want to know what is power. I want to know what is knowledge. I want to know what it's like to set away the evil path and embrace the good. At some point, I started writing this book, and I kept it for myself for so long. At some point, I think it's time to reveal some of the secrets, because I started like a dummy. Because I'm running out of room, I started to cover some images with another sheet of paper, because it's not modest in my collection of divine principles that I have been collecting, and of the work that I have been doing, except for this drawing, which reassembles a fractal of only blackness and whiteness, plus and minus, plus versus minus. And this is only feminine because it's circles, 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 circles. And look, it's but in essential, this principle is infinite. I wanted something to resemble infinity. At some point, I started looking things up about alchemy, and the 7 stages on this. And I've been doing a very big deal. And I want to show the light. I have been collecting. At some point, I will be ready to show it with worth. For now, some pages are completely censored because without the right context, I cannot explain this. But and it's completely dangerous if I explain it to people who are not meant to receive this knowledge without proper context. But in some sense, it is completely harmless as well. And what I want to state is this book was meant to always keep aside me whenever I need information, because I live in a reality wherein nothing is as it seems. Everything moves, everything is different every day, and it sounds like this is completely logical, because everything moves and breathes and transforms. We live in a world that transforms. We transform as well, of course, but of course there is something else at work, and that is that for the worst, people are trying to postpone my progress in life. At least in my secular life, in my primary life, they are doing the same as well. They are trying to destroy me. Yes, they are trying to destroy me, and it's not paranoid. They are trying to destroy me. I can dedicate a whole YouTube channel to this and the whole video, but I am not willing to. But I have encountered so many things, and I kept asking, why me? But who else? I need to encounter this because they are testing me. They want to destroy me because they think I'm not worth it. I think that I am worth it to be destroyed silently, to be isolated, and to be torn down, completely tortured. I don't know who is behind the scenes pulling the strings. Hate the player. Hate the game, not the player. Not hate the messenger. Don't shoot the messenger, just hate the game. Because it is unfair in some sense. Because I have lived my life as a lie and an illusion for many, many years. And after that, I've been trying to keep artificially this lie, this illusion. I've tried to commit to it, tried to live this life. And the more I did this, I was being slandered. People were trying to destroy my career, everything. When I tried to build something up, I saw fake friends and a lot of people harassing me and destroying it from the inside out. My whole social network is breached and completely infiltrated by people that are slandering me, that are completely destroying my life and the life of my loved ones. And I'm doing my best to to keep it in a proportion because I cannot go to the authorities. There is no proof. I cannot. I'm unable to capture proof. They have tried to kill me for many times by poisoning me, by cursing me, by ambushing me and tricking me, by hitting me with a car accident, with gases. They have tried everything. And I'm really serious here. I'm not delusional or lying or anything. All of this. So that's why at some point, I have granted the mercy of Hashem to make it this far. I should try my best to serve His purpose of walking this road and sharing what I know with the world. Because at some point you need to share it. At some point you need to go out there and tell what you know in order to rectify the world around you. That is part of rectifying the self. I'm at a point that I cannot share it with anyone outside of myself. There are no people in my direct life that are into the things that I am in a spiritual sense or in for the sake of intellectual challenge. They don't like what I'm doing. Also, all my art, they are not interested in it. They are not interested in this. They are only interested in secular human things like going out or getting a drink somewhere nice. And I do think it is nice, but it's not. It's an extra thing, and I want to be able to enjoy this again. For me, I suffered this self-isolation years before COVID. Years. And I will make another video explaining why I think isolation is a good thing. Because in Tarot, for example, it symbolizes the hermit. The hermit is a card of the guidance of the soul, of the self, and of, well, whatever. I will not go too deep into this because I know myself, but the hermit is a very powerful card. It's the 9. And for me, I discovered that when I was into conspiracy theories, that a lot of things created more strong beliefs. I was not benefiting from it, because you will only feel helpless when you are looking at it and believing it and living it like it's the only truth. Like there is a child eating elite and stuff like this. This is not helping you in any way. Not in any way. The fact that I am alive, I want to celebrate this. and I want to enjoy this, and I want to make this big as possible, just like any human being. But the fact that at some point in my 20s, 20, I think I was 21 when all of this started, this is affecting me in so many layers of my life right now that at some point I'm done. I'm completely done with this. And at some point I need to get this outside. I need to put this outside of myself and show the world, teach the world, because that's the only thing that I can really do and dedicate to. And I want to be able to be helpful to the world. And now they are trying to discredit me in every sense, to the full extent, maximum full extent of this. And it's not even funny. It's not even ethical, the ways they are doing it. So that's why I want to share this with the world. I want to share a bit of my story. There are so many times that I thought I'm gonna die. This is what it feels like when you are about to die. And then at some point, you know that you have been hurt, that you have been given another chance, but also that it's not your time. There is stuff for you to do. Life is not about suffering. While at some point it is. Everyone suffers, and everyone needs to suffer. But we will go into this in another video. I will explain about this. But this is a very complete new finding that I found. Incarnation is suffering, because when you take the life of a deity, when you take the life of a cow, it suffers. You are killing it in order to eat it. It's the red, which is from the side of Gevura, judgment, which is red. And then we are incarnated in the flesh. Flesh symbolizes judgment. That's why it's set apart from milk, from dairy. Simple, plain. And because all these principles are out there, but not everyone sees it, we are needlessly suffering. And I believe that I'm living this life, and there's so much I don't know about myself that has been told about me. I've been grown isolated, and the moment that I got myself out there, here I am, world, is the moment that the world hit back and said, no, we don't want you out there. People tracking me down and people harassing me in groups, and then you feel powerless because you cannot fight every single person by yourself. And every single time when you want to do it, you think in your head, if you do it, they call you crazy and they lock you up. And when that happens, they win, you don't. Because it's only one casualty versus one subject, one person. One casualty is worth nothing. If I'm worth it, if I'm worth money or whatsoever, then 10 casualties is not even worth anything. But I don't want media attention and stuff. So that's why I'm trying to, not for the purpose and the future of this channel, I'm not willing to explain too much about this situation, because it's not my main purpose. But I'm willing to take out the truth, and present it to anyone, because I have this very difficult story. It's very, very, very difficult story. It's very difficult story that is. It's. I don't want to get emotional. I'm not good with this or stuff, but I also really happy that I'm able to make this video, because I've been thinking about this for so many years, and for me it feels like a victory when I upload this video and someone sees this video and sees that even if their situation is not as bad as mine, that there's hope for anyone, because my worst nightmare came true. And how can this happen if no one knows what is your worst nightmare? If you never told anyone, how can they know what is your worst nightmares? How can they probe from this and create a strategy to crack you down and try to break you in a collective sense? That's only when you are in a situation that forces them to operate like this. When there is something up with you that causes them to isolate you, to harass you, and to reduce the chance that you reach out to people, and bringing things like human interaction that they can't control, or bringing creative concepts that they can't control, or a sense of financial flows that they can't monitor and control, because I was trying to do sustainable things for minorities, and not minorities in the sense of people with people of color, but for people that need support for their sustainable projects that are, for example, biodegradable and creative and off the grid, stuff like this. But they don't want to see innovation like this happen. They want you to be a servant of society, and if you are not traceable, they make you traceable, or they prevent you from going off the grid. That's what's going on. That's what has been happening. It's happening over all of the world. I've seen some testimonies from a lot of people. But to get back to the topic, this is what has been going on for years for me. People track me down on the other side of the world. That's insane. Everywhere where I go, they inform people, hey, keep an eye on this individual. I don't know why, but they do this. And even a few years back, I think 2018, a friend of mine even witnessed that I was wearing this shirt with a lot of colors, very unique, and then I saw this other person that was a little bit taller than I am, that also had this shirt with all the colors and glasses, and I had some dip dye in my hair, and we looked completely the same. It felt like he wanted to copycat me. It's like, but I was going to the supermarket and we were passing each other and was like, whoa, you see this? I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy. And he saw this. He said, yes. And then, back then, I didn't know what was going on. And now, I'm going to the point that I don't even care what's going on. Let them do what they do. Don't put the finger on me. This book was written because I wanted to have something completely for myself. All my computers, everything is tracked, monitored, and hacked. I don't know how they do it. I think they have software that is in the cloud. Whenever you have a mobile phone, they are corrupting files. So I hope this video will make it to the internet and that they will not isolate my YouTube channel. So, when you're using services like WhatsApp, they will put the virus or something in your phone and it will be put in the database log file. I have a background in computer science, engineering stuff, and they are able to do this. This book can only physically be altered. This is a project that I worked on in secret in order to understand how the world operates, why certain things happen, why certain conspiracy theories are credible and why certain theories are not credible. Because I was looking and reflecting on my situation, on what's happening outside in the world. Are people experiencing the same things? And it's not. But I also tried to get in contact with God, with Hashem. I tried to really put myself out there and ask, Father, forgive me for my sins, but also see me. Today is the day that I fasted. Do you know why? For the destruction of the temple, or the day that is 70 of Tammuz, the day that the walls of Jerusalem were breached. And I cried and I cried and I cried today because I feel this need for a temple. And I am really putting myself out there, and I've been doing this for years. When my awakening came into my skull, and that atheism is a hoax, it is there to remove you completely and put you in the secular world, and maybe even in below it, because you are really poor if you don't have religion, if you don't have understanding of religion, if you don't have anything with this, if you don't have hope, if all your hope is in money and in science, then you are actually really poor, because both of them are light, but both of them are also outside of your control. You can play a role in this whole image and you can become a very nice doctor and enjoy your secular life, but your primary life needs to be on point. And all the great inventors and doctors, they believed in principles that are out there that you cannot discredit. Even if you don't believe in anything, this is a good book. The Kybalion is where a lot of science stems from, which is the Hermetic principles. But Hermetic principles are also drawn from Hermetic Kabbalah, but Kabbalah is not Hermetic. Do you see the problem here? We have Kabbalah with the C, Kabbalah with the Q, and Kabbalah with the K. Which one is the original Kabbalah? There are so many perversions around a tradition, around a truth. There are so many book burnings and persecutions that happened in the past. What refrains people from doing it today when you know something that you shouldn't know? And I don't say that what I know about this is the reason that I'm persecuted, because this happened before that. But I feel that I should exist. It feels like I have a right to live, and it feels like people are trying to take this away from me. my country, there is no way to battle this because they have no reliable organization to do this. If you are a citizen of this country, but if you are a refugee, they will try to help you, of course, because you're dealing with completely different matters. So this book was kept outside of these people that are trying to destroy me and everything around me, and to remove the trace that I ever existed. They are aiming for this because some of my friends already believe that I am dead, because I refrain from social media as much as I can, and I try to make my way through the world in a completely different way, because this was a different life that I lived. This was a different life that I lived, and in this life that I lived, I did a lot of things that I wouldn't do today. Constant partying and all of this, enjoying, receiving for the self, which is completely egotistical. And now I'm refraining from this. And sometimes I like to be with people, but I'm actually isolating myself from people, and that's when the light really shines down, when we isolate ourselves. Because if I give a simple short story about this, and an explanation is that when you are isolated, the light shines down because the internal dialogue from the self starts coming forth. Why do you keep referring to yourself as this? Why do you believe this? Why do you keep doing the same habit? All of these questions you are answering, you're talking back, you're reflecting back to yourself all the times. This introspection is a good thing for you, actually. And if you have too much things to distract you from this process will never happen, and it's a healthy process. Too much of it is also not good, and it will drive you insane, and that's why I'm reading a lot of books, and I'm reflecting back to the books instead of reflecting back to myself all the time. Because if you keep reflecting everything on yourself, then you are blaming yourself for faulty things. For example, back then I was not able to stop smoking, but with the power that I receive from Hashem, I am able to stop smoking. I have post-traumatic stress disorder and OCD and all of these labels that you can put on top of someone. That is because I trust this. I trust this behavior. Smoking cigarette after cigarette after cigarette. I don't believe in medication. Self-medication feels safe, especially when you are vulnerable. So that's why I kept doing this, because I also didn't trust the psychiatrists, because they will label you cuckoo. Yes, because that's the most logical decision they can make. This is a lot of personal depth, but I have a very big revelation to make. Settle for my other video because I will explain this. I will explain this. And before this, I have a revelation to make. In a dream that I had 3 years ago, even before COVID, 3 years ago I had this dream. I dreamt that the name of the soul of the waters is called Shamash. Shamash means sun in Hebrew. Shamash means sun in Hebrew. And the sun shines upon the waters. I saw the waters and the light on the sea. And when I woke up, I immediately knew that this was a revelation because the sun and the sea are both words that are being used in the Tanakh. Back then, my Hebrew was not that good. It was not that developed. And with the help of Hashem, people in my life came and opened my eyes so I could see. Not that I can look, but that I can actually see. And I'm so grateful to the Rabbi Hashem. Yeah. Oh, because with the help of Hashem, every single particle and principle that is written down in this book came to me. And it is Hermetic philosophy and Hermetic Kabbalah, and everything came into place. That the Kabbalion, I already knew about this before I actually learned about it. I thought I should write a book about this. But I already understood Kabbalion. And Kabbalion is the principle that for everything there is a counterparticle. There's a vibration that we can observe and isolate, and when there are multiple vibrations they can cancel each other out, and that there is above, that things below are in the likeness above, in the worlds above, and that for everything there is a masculine and feminine counterpart, and for every masculine part there is a feminine principle. Simple, but there are also polarities which are not necessarily masculine or feminine, and yet they can be at the same time, and there is something in the middle that is neither of the two and both at the same time. And this applies also to quantum computing. This is something that we should keep in mind. This is actually very powerful, because here we are talking, for example, about these 3 pillars: moon, sun, all-seeing eye. In another video, we will review this knowledge. We will review all of this, and I will I'm really wanting to teach the Gentiles, to teach everyone all about what is written here, because most of it came to me all by itself. At first I needed to search, and now I don't need to search. A lot of things came to me because of someone that was willing to teach me. And if there is one of the things in life I'm grateful for, is that I was able to understand all of this. I was able to learn all of this from him. And I've had a lot of encounters with false senses of spirituality and spirituality in common, but before we are able to understand what this actually means, we need to go into depth about what I'm about to teach, because it's a lot. Also, this book talks about alchemy, and I'm purposely showing some of the pages, purposefully. Some of it is completely censored, but I just want to put some seeds in subconsciousness that understands, because that's one of the things that works. Because our subconsciousness, now I finally understand what it is. It's a mirror. From this mirror, we reflect back to ourselves. From this mirror, we are able to see ourselves for what we are in this world. Especially in secular world, but in secular world, if we don't have the primary world, then this is our primary world, and our primary state wherein we should be is a mess. Why? Because we don't maintain a relationship with our Creator. If we don't know how to serve our Master, then there is a lot of chaos around us. And when we are submitting to this chaos, that's when we just will counteract to our lower forms, to our desires, to our emotions. When we feel depressed, we will counteract with this particle of us that is feeling depressed. But this is not us. This is actually the revelation that came to me because of my master, but before I experienced this, I even wrote it in a diary that when I wrote, I wasn't able to express what I felt and what I thought in a way that can be understand. I was unable to express it, to express my findings, and I don't know when it was written down. I think somewhere in 2015, back then when I was living a secular life full on and was not busy with anything spiritual. Look at it. I feel lost in this world. It feels like everything is just some kind of delusion. Not illusion, delusion. I will get back to this. This causes confusion. I will get back to this. I can't focus on reality. It feels like everything is distorted and vague. nothing is clear at all. Since I had the chance to expand my view and perception of the world and our reality, it looks like there is a big difference in cognitive resolution. In fact, how do I describe something that abstract? How do you do? Is there really a difference between the resolutions, or do I imagine that? Neurology is a big and really hard concept to understand after all. Since I am a computer science student and not a neurologist, in fact, I could feel some kind of sensation when I learn or discover something, even when it's unusual. Something equivalent to a dopamine kick is what I feel when I try to learn something new. What kind of biochemical process is actually happening here? When I observe people, I see a difference at the soul. When I observe people, I see a difference in the soul. Divine resolution. Sorry, everything is written by hand, and back then my handwriting was way off. It is also a major difference between my and their behavior. But when does this difference but what does this difference mean? An average male 20-year-old students of computer science. How do I differ? You can speak of every label, depression, anxiety, whatsoever. And I can say that I am diagnosed by this or that, or this is in my family, or whatsoever. But how far does this difference go? As far as I know, it could be a difference in interest, cognitive behavior, a manifestation of cognitive charisma, a manifestation of cognition, charisma, resolution of thoughts, the release of dopamine while learning, or the resolution of behavior. There are so many labels that they try to put on your problems in order to help you and to make you understand it. But if you don't understand the root of the problem, then there is the problem, and you solve it with putting another problem on top of it, which is medication, which is the medicines, which is the pharmaceutical industry. It's not a long-term solution, you know. And what I mean with the delusion is the world of chaos. I will explain this in the future as well. But the world of chaos, for people who do know, is the difference, is the opposite of the world of tikkun, which is the world of rectification. If we don't solve ourselves, if we remain in the world of chaos, where everything is just random values, then we are set up for failure, because we are believing that everything that is presented in the world of chaos is ruining our time. And when it's ruining our time, there is no room for rectification unless we accept this rectification. And we cannot fix everything at once, but we need to understand the root of the problem in order to be able to rectify it. If we are completely unaware of our flaws, then we will blame it on everything. We will blame it on ourselves, we will blame it on the creation itself, and we will blame it on everything around us, except on the things wherein it is rooted. The end is rooted in the beginning. Is one saying that I want to use here. And that being said, shalom.